Howdy y'all, welcome back to the channel. I'm James and this is Clearwater Fishing, and today we are talking about, well, whether or not you even need a fish finder on your boat or kayak or whatever fishing apparatus you use. Well, to simply answer the very first question, do you even need a fish finder? Well, obviously the answer is no. People have been fishing for years, decades, millennia, and have not had fish finders. So you don't need a fish finder, but it does help you catch more fish. How does a fish finder help you catch more fish? Well, I want to start this video off with the very first reason, not really pertaining just to fishing. It's pertaining to safety. Now, obviously, you shouldn't use your fish finder for primary navigation, but it can help you avoid hazardous areas altogether, or at least be cautious around them. Whether or not you have waypoints made up around hazards that you found yourself, or you've purchased maps that mark hazardous areas that aren't always necessarily marked on the lake. I've found several lakes, especially the smaller lakes, that all the hazards aren't always marked. So you have to be careful on those lakes, find them, and once you're comfortable on a path, you can go rip down the path. But for the most part, you really should be cautious on lakes you've never been on before. Now we're off to how a fish finder can actually help you catch fish other than just letting you fish for another day. Waypoints is one of the greatest ways a fish finder can help you catch more fish. You can mark all sorts of things using waypoints, whether it's hazards like we just talked about, points, ledges, drop-offs, humps, brush piles, laydowns, rock piles, you name it. You can mark it, and it may not be holding fish at that point in time in year, but you can come back later and scan over that over and over again until you find a pattern. Hey, fish like being on this group of rocks toward the end of summer. So I can come back here next year at the end of the summer and scan over these rocks again and see if there's fish on them. And that brings me to the third way a fish finder can help you catch more fish. How do you know what's below the boat? And to me, there's four major types of sonars that help tell you what's below your boat. And the very first one we're going to talk about is an oldie but a goodie, which is the good old-fashioned 2D sonar. It has anywhere between 50 to 120 kilohertz, maybe a little higher. It depends on the models that you use. Really good at identifying fish. Really good at telling you the depth. Not good at telling you exactly what's under your boat. You're going to see that there is an obstruction there, but it's going to be kind of hard to tell whether or not, is that a brush pile or a pile of rocks? It's going to not be good at telling you those kind of things. Hey guys, before we move on to our next sonar, I would like to stop and ask you guys to subscribe to the channel. We do all sorts of fishing related content, anywhere from simple questions as this, does a fish finder help you catch more fish, all the way to simple how-tos, to advanced how-tos, to boat maintenance videos, to simply entertaining videos. So if you subscribe to the channel and you enjoy fishing, well, I promise you, you're going to find something here that you like. Also, if you're enjoying the video, don't forget to smash the like button. It'll help this particular video out. Now that brings me to my next stage of sonar. It's called down imaging, and it runs anywhere between 455 kilohertz to 1.2 megahertz. Now this type of imaging provides really great detail of what's on the bottom. So you can easily tell if something's a brush pile or a rock or a tree, a stump, a laydown, a sunken car or truck, a boat, whatever, you can name it, you can probably easily identify it. It makes fantastic images like this one, but as you can tell, it's a little harder to see the fish. They have to be in a particular cone area, which is much smaller than that of the 2D. So that's how it provides better detail as far as what's cover is, but it doesn't really show you what fish are around all that well. And that's kind of weird. You get into the practice of reading your sonar and understanding what the image says. Yeah, you may only see 2 or 3 fish on your down imaging, but that doesn't show the entire picture there could be 30 fish there, even though you only saw 2 or 3. A typical rule of thumb I like to follow when identifying fish on these down images is if you see 2 or 3 fish, well, it's anywhere between 3 to 6 times more fish in that area. So if you see 3 fish, it could be 9 fish or it could be 18 fish. It just kind of depends on the type of area and how much fish can be held there, but just a general rule of thumb. Side imaging is very, very much like down imaging, except for the fact that it allows you to look left and right on the bottom of your body of water. It's extremely effective in finding lots and lots of structure and covers that interest you, especially like brush piles and quick little drop-offs that may not show on all your maps. So it's great for doing that, and it's also great for finding schools of fish. If you can find a school of fish, they're going to show up kind of like little black popcorns on the bottom, and then you know you're on a mother lode of whatever that is. Usually that's crappie or maybe some white bass of some kind. Side imaging is essentially a way to help you find structure and cover much faster than just using down imaging alone. You can make a waypoint on particular pieces of cover structure just like you would on down imaging or 2D sonar, and it'll even know how far away from the boat it is. So it's extremely effective in finding these pieces of cover that are kind of hard to find unless you're scanning over a particular area a bunch of times. So once you find those, you mark it on your side imaging, you switch to your down imaging and your map, you go over it with your map, you make sure you go over that particular area and you scan to see if there's any fish. Boom, we just found all the fish. Okay, hands down, we're done. Okay, no, we're not done. We got one more sonar to talk about. The last category here of sonars that help you tell what's going on below your boat are 360 and live sonars. I categorize these both together because they're new age sonars, but they have a similar purpose. And the purpose is cast accuracy. The 360 goes around and sweeps the area, and you can identify exactly where you need to make the cast to get on that brush pile or to get on that pile of rocks or to fish where that group of fish is. So the only advantage that live imaging has over a 360 imaging is, well, you can see how the fish react to your bait in real time. This is effective if you need to change your cadence or change the type of bait that you're using. It is ineffective as far as, hey, I see fish there and I want to catch them. Well, they're not reacting to my bait because it's not feeding time, so I'm going to fish them for way too long. The 360 there is a little more helpful. It helps you identify where you need to be fished, you make your 10 casts, and then you can move on. Now that last part was just a little bit of my opinion in there, but I think you can see my justification behind it. Fish finders definitely can help you catch more fish, but they're not always needed. If you're beating the bank or fishing in the springtime where the fish are up shallow, a fish finder is not going to be that much helpful. Now, if you're fishing offshore and looking to catch those fish on the rock piles and the ledges and the brush piles later in the year, in the summer, fall, even the winter time, definitely need a fish finder to be extremely effective offshore fishing, but not so much those times of the year that you're fishing the bank. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, if you enjoyed the video, smash that like button. But just like always, until next time, get out there and go catch you some fish.